A bid blunder mistake I have did cross my line with my brother-in-law that ruined me. Amanda stood in the rain, her black dress clinging to her skin as the priest's voice droned over the open grave. Her husband, Ethan, was gone. A car accident, they said. One moment he was kissing her goodbye, promising to be home for dinner. The next, he was a memory, stolen by a drunk driver on a slick highway. At 27, Amanda was a widow, her world unraveled in a single, brutal instant. She barely registered the mourners around her, colleagues, distant cousins, neighbors offering hollow condolences. Her mind was a fog, replaying Ethan's laugh, his gentle touch, the way he'd hum off-key while cooking. They'd been married 3 years, not long enough to build a family, but enough to dream of one. Now, those dreams were buried with him. As the crowd dispersed, a sleek black Rolls-Royce pulled up to the cemetery gate. A tall woman in her 60s, dressed in an impeccable navy coat, stepped out. Her silver hair was pulled into a tight chignon, and her eyes, sharp and green, locked onto Amanda. She approached with a measured stride, an umbrella shielding her from the downpour. "You're Amanda," the woman said. Not a question, but a statement. Amanda nodded, wiping rain from her face. "Yes. And you are—" "Margaret Langley, Ethan's mother." Amanda blinked, stunned. Ethan had rarely spoken of his family. He'd mentioned growing up modestly, estranged from his parents after a falling out. He'd never hinted at wealth, certainly not the kind that came with chauffeured Rolls-Royces. I didn't know you'd be here." Margaret's lips pressed into a thin line. "Ethan was my son. Despite everything, I had to come." She paused, studying Amanda's face. "You didn't know, did you? About us?" "Know what?" Amanda's voice trembled, exhaustion and grief fraying her patience. Margaret sighed, a flicker of something. Pity, perhaps, crossing her face. "Ethan was the eldest son of the Langley family. My husband, Charles, built Langley Enterprises into a billion-dollar empire. Ethan walked away from it all years ago, but he was still my son, and you, Amanda, are my daughter-in-law." The words hit like a second blow. Billionaires? Estrangement? Amanda's knees buckled, and Margaret caught her arm, steadying her. "Come with me," Margaret said firmly. "You shouldn't be alone." The Langley estate was a world apart from Amanda's modest apartment. Nestled in the hills outside the city, the mansion sprawled across acres of manicured gardens, its stone facade gleaming under the late afternoon sun. Inside, chandeliers cast golden light over marble floors, and portraits of stern-faced ancestors lined the walls. Amanda felt like an intruder, her damp sneakers squeaking against the polished stone. Margaret led her to a guest suite larger than Amanda's entire apartment. "You'll stay here," she said, "until you're ready to decide what comes next." "I can't just—" Amanda began, but Margaret cut her off. "You're family now, whether Ethan told you or not. We take care of our own." That evening, Amanda met the rest of the Langleys at dinner. Charles, Ethan's father, was a gruff man with a handshake like iron and eyes that assessed her like a business deal. Their daughter, Claire, a polished woman in her early 30s, offered a tight smile but said little. And then there was Nathan, Ethan's younger brother. Nathan Langley was everything Ethan hadn't been. Sharp-edged, confident, with a jawline that could cut glass and eyes that seemed to see through her. He leaned back in his chair, a glass of whiskey in hand, watching Amanda with an intensity that made her skin prickle. "So, you're the widow," he said, his tone clipped, almost mocking. "Ethan's little secret." "Nathan," Margaret snapped, but he didn't flinch. Amanda's grief flared into anger. "I loved your brother. I'm not here for your money or your pity." Nathan's lips twitched, not quite a smile. "Good, because you won't get either from me." The dinner was tense, punctuated by Charles's questions about Amanda's job, a graphic designer, nothing glamorous, and Claire's occasional attempts at small talk. Nathan said little, but his gaze followed Amanda, sharp and unreadable. She felt like prey under a hawk's stare. Days turned into weeks, and Amanda remained at the estate, too numb to return to her empty apartment. Margaret insisted she stay, claiming it was what Ethan would have wanted. Amanda wasn't so sure, but the thought of facing her old life, Ethan's clothes still in the closet, his coffee mug on the counter, was unbearable. She tried to keep busy, sketching in the gardens or helping Margaret with small tasks. But Nathan was a constant presence, his sharp comments cutting through her fragile defenses. He was the COO of Langley Enterprises, a workaholic who seemed to resent Amanda's existence. "You don't belong here," he said one evening, finding her in the library. She was flipping through a photo album, pausing at a picture of a young Ethan and Nathan, arms slung around each other, grinning at the camera. Amanda closed the album. "I didn't ask to be here," Margaret insisted. "Mother's sentimental," Nathan said, leaning against a bookshelf. "She thinks you're some damsel in distress, but you're not, are you?" She met his gaze, refusing to back down. I don't need rescuing, Nathan. I just need time. For the first time, his expression softened. Just a fraction. Time doesn't fix everything. They stood in silence, the weight of their shared loss hanging between them. Ethan had been Nathan's brother, after all. Beneath the hostility, Amanda glimpsed something raw. Grief, maybe, or guilt. Over the next few months, Amanda and Nathan's interactions shifted. Their arguments, once venomous, became debates about art, business, even politics. Nathan challenged her opinions, but he listened too, his sharp mind engaging with hers in a way that felt alive. Amanda hated how much she looked forward to their sparring matches, how his rare smiles made her heart stutter. One night, a storm knocked out the estate's power. Amanda found Nathan in the kitchen, rummaging for candles. The flickering light softened his features, and for once, he didn't snap at her. Here, he said, handing her a candle. Their fingers brushed, and Amanda's breath caught. Nathan froze, his eyes locking onto hers. For a moment, neither moved, the air thick with unspoken tension. We can't, Amanda whispered, stepping back. Nathan's jaw tightened. I know, but the moment lingered, a dangerous spark in the dark. The crisis came unexpectedly. Langley Enterprises faced a hostile takeover bid from a rival corporation, threatening to dismantle everything Charles had built. The family was in chaos, with Charles barking orders, Claire panicking, and Margaret trying to hold them together. Nathan threw himself into the fight, working late nights to outmaneuver the competition. Amanda, feeling useless, offered to help. She wasn't a businesswoman, but her design skills proved valuable, creating compelling presentations that swayed key investors. Nathan noticed his respect for her growing. They worked side by side, their late-night sessions blurring the line between colleagues and something more. One night, exhausted and frayed, Nathan confessed, I blamed you. For Ethan leaving, for everything. But you're not what I thought. Amanda's heart ached. I loved him, Nathan, but he's gone. And I'm still here. He reached for her hand, then stopped himself. We can't, he echoed her earlier words, but his voice was raw, desperate. Chapter 6. Breaking the Line. The takeover was thwarted, thanks to Nathan's strategy and Amanda's contributions. At a celebratory dinner, the family toasted their victory, but Amanda felt hollow. She couldn't keep pretending her feelings for Nathan were platonic. Every touch, every glance was a betrayal of Ethan's memory, or so she told herself. She decided to leave the estate, to start fresh somewhere else. But before she could pack, Nathan found her in the garden, his face a storm of emotions. Don't go, he said, voice low. I've spent months fighting this, Amanda, but I can't anymore. I love you. The words shattered her resolve. Tears streamed down her face as she admitted, I love you too. But Ethan would want you to be happy, Nathan said, stepping closer. We're not betraying him. We're living. She didn't pull away when he kissed her, the world falling away until it was just them, two broken people finding solace in each other. A new beginning. Margaret surprisingly gave her blessing. Ethan would hate to see you both miserable, she said. Charles grumbled but came around, and Claire, after some hesitation, welcomed Amanda as a sister. Not just a sister-in-law, Amanda and Nathan built a life together, not without challenges. The world whispered about their unconventional love, but they faced it hand in hand. Amanda kept Ethan's memory close, a quiet part of her heart, but she let herself love Nathan fully, fiercely. They weren't perfect, but they were real, and in the end, that was enough.